Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Can you guys hear me? Can you see where I'm at? This is Griff. I'm in the most beautiful place in the entire world. And so you guys probably already know what that place is. Humboldt, Redwood State Park, right? Yes, that is right. So just before we get started, just look at how beautiful this place is. Isn't it wonderful? Gosh, it's wonderful. So, I'm Griff. I am a naturalist for California State Parks. So naturalist is like, our official title is an interpreter, but a lot of people think when I say interpreter that I'm talking about languages. And sí, puedo hablar español, pero that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is we are natural resource and cultural interpreters. So we interpret nature so you understand it. Because a lot of times you guys are all busy, so you don't have time to like study all these plants. But when you come here, you'd like to know something about them because you want to get to know them. And that's my job, is to help you. So today I woke up and I was like, what is something relevant and helpful that I can do to all the awesome people who keep tuning in to my live streams? And I totally appreciate it because I love to talk about this stuff. I really, really do. And you guys just give me a reason to talk about it. So thank you very much. So I thought about it and I was like, we're going to talk about COVID virus on a deeper level. Okay. Other than just the stuff that you hear constantly and incessantly on the news and the commercials. So you're like, dang, we tuned in, Griff, and you're supposed to be out in the Redwoods and you're going to talk about the same thing we're here. But we're going to talk about something called zoonotic infections. So zoonotic infections will help you understand the bigger picture. And I'm going to talk to you about how to prevent. Hey, what's up, Rachel and Jonathan? I'm going to talk to you guys about how to prevent zoonotic infections. Okay? But first, let me show you where I'm at. So this is a mirror thing, which is really bizarre, so I should probably print this out backwards. But I'm way up here in the old growth redwoods, the 4.6% of the old growth forest that's left, thanks to my hero Laura Mahan and Save the Redwood League in California State Parks. Beautiful, okay? I love that you guys protected 4.6%. I wish we would have protected more. I know that you guys were working against all those people who were trying to stop you from protecting it, and you did anyways, and I love you for it. Thank you very much. So we're going to talk about zoonotic diseases. So think about when you want to go see animals, a lot of times you go to the zoo. When you want to study animals, you take zoology. Okay? Zoonotic, zoonoses. They're diseases that go between humans and animals. And so some of you are thinking, well, how do animal diseases get to humans? Well, we're animals. So if you think about it, because I had a hard time with this when I was younger. We're animals. Well, yeah, we can transplant organs from us to animals, and like we've had very high profile people with pig parts in their hearts. Okay, so we go to the bathroom just like they do. Not that they go to the bathroom, but we defecate like they do, and we breastfeed like other mammals do. We're animals, okay? And you know, a lot of our diseases come from animals. Think swine flu and bird flu. We'll talk more about this in a minute. This is going to be about 10 minutes long, and we're going to talk about, we're eventually going to get to what you can do in parks to prevent zoonotic infections. But let me just lay some more groundwork first, okay? So Center for Disease Control and Prevention says that actually these 3/4 of all new diseases are zoonotic diseases. And it's because we went from 1 billion people in 1900 destroying the planet, like here. That's when this place was clear-cut logged, mostly. And now we're at 7 billion, and people are now clear-cutting the tropical rainforest, and the tropics are more biodiverse. So what does biodiverse mean? There's a 45-second lag between me and you. Okay, so like if you have a question, just put it out there and I'll see it. Okay, so zoonotic diseases are diseases that go between us and humans, and the reason why they're increasing, those of you who just came on, this is what we're talking about, zoonotic diseases. The reason why they're increasing is because the 7 billion of us now are destroying the forest still, and in these tropical regions where a lot of the new diseases are coming from, the vast majority of new diseases, and diseases, think about that. We'll get to that in a minute. So these diseases are coming from the tropical rainforest because they're more biodiverse. There's more variety of life. So there's more animals and plants, and therefore more viruses and bacteria, plagues, parasites. And those are the things that cause diseases. Dis-ease. Okay, so disease could be a lot of different things. It's dis ease, like unease, dis-ease. And that's what and a lot of these zoonotic infections are what cause these terrible diseases, like the COVID virus. So let's talk about some of the other ones. Now, I made a short list because I Googled what are some of the zoonotic infections, and there was a huge list. And if I read them, I'd have to read them like an auctioneer. And so I'd be all, because that's the only way I'd be able to read that list in 10 minutes, okay? So let me just read a few of the big ones. Zoonotic diseases. And hopefully this wind isn't interfering with the sound quality. AIDS, zoonotic disease. Malaria, rabies, H1N1, most flu viruses. Salmonella, maybe all flu viruses. West Nile virus, which is killing our yellow-billed magpie, an endemic bird in California. It's killing them. You know, it's this invasive disease from somewhere else, probably Egypt, because it's got that context clue in there. West Nile virus. Plague was from fleas via cats and rats. And Lyme's disease. So a lot of these zoonotic diseases were transferred between animals and humans, and now that we're living closer to animals than ever because we're destroying their forest for palm oil and for cattle grazing and for just all kinds of different ways, we're coming in contact with more diseases. So when you're in the parks, now we're gonna move on to, I'm gonna read your questions, then we're gonna move on to how to prevent spreading zoonotic diseases between people and animals, and dogs and animals, okay? And people are animals, okay? Some scientists believe that we're descended from apes, and some scientists believe that we're still apes. So who knows? Believe what you want, but we can get animal diseases. Okay, so let's look at this. Oh, thank you, Jim. What's up, Catherine? CNBC reference. I'll have to look at that. Dawn. I'm dancing. Oh, Dawn, that's right. She found me in my dancing videos. Y'all didn't know it. A lot of you don't know that I'm a dancer too, but this is, when I'm wearing this uniform, I can't be dancing too much. Okay, there's Cam Cabrera. She knows about this kind of stuff, talking about diseases from raccoon scat. Tina, thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. So you guys, zoonotic diseases, we're talking about zoonotic diseases, and they are diseases that are transferred from humans to animals. So let's just talk a little bit about AIDS, because I was in San Francisco and I was a kid when AIDS came out, and there was so much misinformation, and a lot of the misinformation that was going around about it was just cruel. You know, it's kind of like now you hear about some demographics of people getting abused because they're getting blamed for coronavirus. And that happens a lot in diseases because fear is corrosive. So Erin Gates, who's also works for State Parks, told me last week, you know, she reminded me fear is corrosive, and it's really stuck with me. And so we get into the COVID virus, and some people are really, really afraid. And so we blame people, which is not cool. And then we also get overreact. And so I have some friends that are so overreactive, and I said this on I just did this on another Facebook page, where I mentioned that I have some friends that, like, you start talking about COVID and they start getting all, and like, I feel like they're going to whip out some Lysol and spray in their ear because they heard the word coronavirus, or they saw someone who has COVID virus. They got to put some Lysol in their eyes to kill that disease that they saw. So don't be like that. We have really good information pinned toward the top of our Facebook pages, California State Park Facebook pages, and you can get some good information from experts. And the one thing that I love about coronavirus is it's finally getting the scientists back the respect they deserve. Science has to go through a process that's evidence-based and peer-reviewed. So it's not like your friend from high school that can see through the news. No, these people make a hypothesis, test it, and then it gets retested by other people, and it gets published and talked about, and then it becomes a theory. You know what I'm saying? There's a process that you can trust way more than someone's opinion. Just because they sound really confident doesn't mean that they're right. But anyways, so I'm glad that science is getting its respect back. So I lost the train of thought, but so I'm going to move on to talking about, so AIDS, that's right. So I heard that, and then I heard someone in Africa married a chimpanzee, and that's what happened. And that's ridiculous, okay? people all over the world eat wildlife. And so, and there's also wildlife trade, pet trade and stuff like that. And so people in wildlife are coming into contact. And if you've ever cleaned a fish, you know that sometimes you might cut your hand. So someone killed a chimpanzee to feed their family. They're probably really, really poor. And so they're going to eat a chimpanzee. Probably wouldn't be their first choice, but if you don't have any other options and you're going to kill this animal that looks a whole lot like ourselves. And then they were probably cleaning it, cut themselves, and then so there's that transmission from the zoonotic disease to the person, okay? And diseases can go from us to animals too. So AIDS didn't start because someone married a chimpanzee, and that's just ridiculous. All right, let's stop that. Let's think about things more deeply before we say things like that. So anyways, which brings me to the park. Here's the park. This is the most beautiful park in the world. This is my favorite place, the old growth redwood forest. And when you're here, some people get really mad that they can't walk their dog on the trail, and I get it. I love dogs. You know, one of my best friends was a dog. Actually, a couple of my best friends were dogs. And you want to take them these beautiful places with you. So the problem is canine distemper and other diseases, rabies, that can go back and forth between your dog and foxes and coyotes and stuff. And also your dogs, and we'll do future broadcasts about that, but there's not very much old growth redwood forest left. There's only 4.6%. And so the animals that live here that like need this kind of habitat, like they're obligated to stay here, can't just get away from your dog and your millions of dogs. It's not just your dog, everybody wants to bring their dog. I want to bring my dog. I don't even have a dog, and I want to bring my dog to the park. So your service dog is allowed here, but I would ask you to maybe come here without your service dog, because unless your doctor tells you that you have to have them, but if it's an option, maybe just leave them at home, because especially if you leave their poop out here, because a lot of wildlife can get canine distemper and all those kinds of things from contact with your dog. Also, when your dog runs off the trail, there's a lot of ground nesting birds, and we'll do future broadcasts about that. But anyways, disease transmission between our animals, our domestic animals, and wildlife is a real thing, okay? And domestic animals and ourselves. Think swine flu. So then, also, when you go off trail, you're disturbing things. Oh, I said I wasn't going to talk about this, but when you go off trail, you can also spread your diseases, your dog diseases, because it's like, you know, you're putting your hands in your nest and you're disturbing wildlife, and you wouldn't like it if someone came over your house and started looking in your private drawers. What would they find? My goodness, you don't want that to happen. Or look in your medicine cabinet. That's none of their business. So like, stay on the trails, because wildlife understand that that's where humans are at. Also, what's another way? Do you guys have any suggestions? What's another way you can help in the park? Not, I know this is a beautiful forest, Bobby. Another way you can help cut down, another way you can cut down on disease transmission in parks is not feeding wildlife. Stop it. I love people who feed wildlife because they're always compassionate, okay? Every wildlife feeder I have ever met has been compassionate, and I wish that your compassion was contagious. But unfortunately, what's contagious is disease transmission between all these animals that you're attracting to the same spot, especially when you're feeding on your porch and all these animals are coming here. A lot of times when they're fed with your meow mix on the porch, they know it's coming from you, so they become habituated. And habituated means losing its fear. I know I said fear is corrosive before, but so is being habituated as an animal, because you're going to run into a bad human eventually, or their numbers get artificially bigger because they're surviving more. So now there's tons of them, and then there's more of them in a closed space like your backyard, because that's where you put the meow mix. And so disease transmission goes between them, or between your cat and them, or your dog and them. So just if you want to help wildlife, plant native plants, okay? And have wood piles and stuff in your backyard, and they won't associate that with the native plants with you, because they evolved the native plants, but they will, the blue bowl with the meow mix in it next to your door, that's what causes habituation. So please stop, and don't feed them in the park, because you attract corvids, not covids, corvids, which are ravens, crows, and jays, and they are super smart, and they associate you with food, and then they come here, and then when you're not here, they raid birds' nests, like endangered birds like marbled murrelets. Don't feed them. And then bears become habituated, and coyotes become habituated. Go to Yosemite sometime. You'll have like a bobcat like sitting on your lap and a coyote licking your hand. Like, it's crazy. It's maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. It's just, you'll definitely have squirrels come on your lap. And that's just increasing the transmission of disease, getting the dependence on humans, and making it more likely that they're going to run into bad humans. So those of you who feed animals, just do this. Plant native plants. Get some wildlife cams. okay, maybe some night vision goggles, and you will see tons of wildlife, and they won't know that you're the reason why they love your yard, okay? And that way they're not endangered, and you won't artificially boost their numbers too much. Also, become informed. Go to like Wild Care, this wildlife care center called Wild Care. They're in Marin. You can look them up. They have tons of information how you can help animals, or Help Animals Now on Facebook, or Animal Help Now. They can also help you. There's a lot of resources where you can learn how to help wildlife, because you guys are so compassionate. You think you're helping, but you're not. You're doing the opposite. I know it looks like when you see an animal eating, you think, oh, happy animal, he's happy. I know it feels that way, but it's just, listen to the experts, okay? Always listen to the people who spent years and years and years studying a subject. Take them more seriously than someone who's just like going, it's cute, it's all right, okay? It's cute, all right. Oh, it's cute, so it's all right. It doesn't involve lengthy studies, but a degree in biology does, okay? So listen to the biologist. Also, let's see what else. So we've all learned a lot, those of us who've watched Tiger King. So you notice that when they get those cubs, they take them away from their mom right at birth, and that's so they can become habituated. Okay, so they lose their fear of humans. And that's what habituation is. And that's tragic for wildlife. If you want to help wildlife, if you have that kind of compassionate hearts, then like, let's save their habitat. And when you buy wood, buy it from some place that is Forest Stewardship Council FSC certified, okay? Like the lumber companies up here. And you can also go to wildlifefriendly.org, and they have wildlife-friendly labeling systems, so you can see which companies have wildlife-friendly labels, because they've already been checked out, and that way you know you're not causing like the deforestation in Borneo or whatever that's killing all the orangutans. Okay, so wildlifefriendly.org. And I'm going to put a bunch of references in this post. And then restoring habitat. Support people who support habitat. Save the Redwood Leagues didn't just buy this, arrange for this to get bought. They are also restoring the redwoods through Redwood Rising Program. And look that up on Save the Redwood League's website, probably California State Parks website too. And we're restoring habitat. And by restoring habitat and not building a bunch of roads in it, and not allowing illegal logging and illegal poaching, we can also keep whatever diseases are in the forest. And that's what's happening right now, is we're destroying the environment. If you missed the beginning of this, destroying the environment, and that way diseases are coming, like the COVID virus. You guys are all sheltering in place right now because of a disease, allegedly, it's looking like, from an animal, from a wildlife market where they sell all kinds of wildlife for food. That's why you guys are sheltering in place, because of this wildlife to human transmission that I'm talking about right now, okay? And that's why millions of people died last year of H1N1, or whenever that H1N1 was, and Ebola, and all those other diseases, and rabies. It's because we're destroying nature. Stop it, okay? There's things we can do. We're super, super, super smart apes, or humans, whatever you want to think we are. And we can figure this out. We've figured some pretty cool stuff out already, and we can do this too. So I'm gonna look at some of your questions, and I just want to say that I really appreciate those of you. I recognize some of your names, and you guys have been coming through that, and I really appreciate that, because I love talking about all this stuff. And if you have something that you want to learn about in the Redwoods and ways that you can help, please give me a suggestion, and I would love to talk about it. And another place that you guys can go for resources, Animal Tracks. So Animal Tracks on Facebook page. I did an episode with them for Wild Jobs. So those of you who don't know, I did an Animal Planet online project called Wild Jobs. If you go to Animal Planet's Facebook page, because on Facebook that doesn't have a lot of commercials. On animalplanet.com there's tons of commercials. But if you go to Animal Planet's Facebook page and you scroll down, you see Wild Jobs, and you click on that. And episode 1 was with Animal Tracks, and they rescue animals, exotic animals that were people's pets that they found out that these animals didn't make good pets. Like this tiger didn't make a good pet. This monkey didn't make a good pet. Well, I don't think Animal Track has any tigers, but they have some wild cats. So check them out, Animal Tracks, and they are awesome. And I worked with them for a day, and I was super impressed. And I still stay in touch with them. So let's see what you guys got here. We all need to care for our neighbors and children like the redwood mother trees. We can learn a lesson from Yes, we can, Bobby. I am so on the same page. Yes. All right. I am in Gould Grove. Good job, Kim. Name that grove. What's up, Antoine? That's my dancing partner. In that viral video I'm in, Antoine's the one giving me the splits hug. I also married him and his wife last year, which was such an honor. Marmots in Yosemite do that. Awesome, Kim, Bobby, Mark. What's up, Mark? Jim. Jim's got some interesting equipment for sale if you guys want to check out Jim's stuff. Catherine. All right. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm in Humboldt Redwood State Parks. We'll be doing live streams every day at 3 p.m. on North Coast Redwood, California State Parks, North Coast Redwood State Parks page. I don't think I said that right. And at 3:30 on Fridays and Sundays, I'll be doing live streams from Humboldt Redwood State Parks page. And then we do all the interpreters from all over California, the natural resource, cultural, nature guides. If you go to ports/ca.us, that's it, ports/ca.us. You can register for these webinars that we do, and they're like 40 minutes long. They're classes. So if you have kids at home right now homeschooling, we can help you out. And we will teach them some cool stuff, and we will show them some beautiful parks like this one. And mine is on Fridays at 2, and I talk about heroes of the Redwoods and how you can save the world. Why stop at Redwoods? So thank you very much for joining me. And here in about 20 minutes, I'll have a bunch of resources up that will help you with some of the things that I mentioned to help you find out where I got my information from and places that can help. And, oh, there's someone in the walk-in keeping our social distance. That's nice. Yeah, so I'll put some resources in the post and share this. Please share this, especially if you know of a group that is into this kind of thing. Or if this is like 8th grade, probably appropriate. So if you have students at home that want to learn something about disease transmission and zoonotic diseases, zoonosis. Gosh, I forgot the name of that. Let me look it up. Zoonotic infections, because it's a really interesting concept that unfortunately we're probably going to be dealing with again. So thank you very, very much. And I will answer your questions when I get back in my office. I'll answer the rest of your questions. And so I hope you guys stay safe, wash your hands. And like I said, there's information about how you could prevent the spread of coronavirus pinned to the top of California State Parks Facebook pages.